Now, let's also add in, and I mentioned it several times already, zero trust is really based on the never trust, always verify. So it doesn't matter where you are or who you are or what you're trying to access, you must do a proper verification always. And that's really important. It denies the access to any resources or limits them by functional area, as well as making sure that location doesn't matter as much. So that even if you're in the office and you're connecting up to your office Wi-Fi, that you still have to use your multi-factor and you still have to authenticate at least the first time. So it's really creating that. And the goal here is to look at attacks not just from the outside in, but from the inside out and from Starbucks in, right? So really understanding all those pieces and really tying that together. Whereas defense in depth is really about protecting from the outside in. You know, the brute force, the original kind of attackers are going to have the hardest time with the defense in depth strategy, but a zero trust also helps with that. And so when we look at zero trust environments and leveraging a good defense in depth strategy, we get down to the combination thereof. And that really is something that is important because
very little of this is actually mutually exclusive. I would say that if you had to really pick it apart, the part of defense in depth that talks about network segmentation, right? And having an identity based on an IP address or domain name, host name. Those things are less important in zero trust because zero trust is encompassing that security. The role is based on an identity as opposed to based on a physical machine, right?
Yeah, physical machine or location of that machine. So it's interesting. And so tying the two together, I think, really gives you the best of both worlds. But it's harder to do. There is another layer of complexion here, complexity that really has to be addressed as we design this out. All right. But when we talk about it together, it really are a combined approach. It really is a methodology that uses zero trust in combination with understanding that we're still going to need firewalls. We're still going to have locations where a firewall makes sense, but at the same time, you can create this logical segmentation based on the functional areas, based on what data you actually need access to. Not all data because you have a certain title or authority, but what you actually need to down to the user level. And that's really what the combination starts to do. We can still use segmentation, but we don't consider it the answer for all things, right? We also have to understand that it has to fit in that bigger piece.